Hello everyone, Keir Smith here, back with another video, and it's a video I'm going to call Golden Years. I'm going to talk about 3 consecutive studio albums by an artist or a band which I consider to be their golden period. This is the first of this type of video that I'm doing, and I expect that there will be future videos of this kind, so call it volume 1 if you like. And I'm going to start by talking about the works of Richard Tandy, Bev Bevan, Kelly Graucut, and of course the great Jeff Lynne, the foursome that make up Electric Light Orchestra. Now, the history books and the general narrative around ELO will tell you that their golden period was in the 70s, with possibly the 3 albums starting with A New World Record onto Out of the Blue and ending with Discovery. And fine albums they undoubtedly are. They yielded many of the band's biggest hit singles, and those albums have stood the test of time and have gone down as classic albums. But for me, I rather like the trio of albums that followed that trio, starting with 1981's Time, onto 1983's Secret Messages, and ending with 1986's Balance of Power. So with all that said, I'll get straight to it. I'll talk you through each of these 3 albums and I'll tell you what's so great about them. And I'll also pick out my 3 favourite songs from each of these albums along the way. So we'll start with 1981's Time, a futuristic concept album about a man living in the 1980s who time travels to the year 2095. Confronted with all of the technological advancements of that time, he struggles to form a life for himself and longs to get back to his previous romance and a simpler life back in the 1980s. I think Time stands as the band's most adventurous and experimental work, especially considering the concept behind that album and the leap in terms of sound from the 1970s into the 1980s. The band largely leave behind those lavishly orchestrated songs that they were synonymous with in the 70s. And they show a keen willingness to try new things with the modern technology of the day, leaning towards a more synthesized and new wave sound. There's 13 tracks on Time, 11 proper songs if you like. The album is bookended by a prologue and an epilogue which help the concept of the album on its way. Prologue opens the album with spacey atmospherics and a vocoder-led vocal which says, "Just on the border of your waking mind, there lies another time where darkness and light are one, and as you tread the halls of sanity, you feel so glad to be unable to go beyond. I have a message from another time." And that leads into the first proper song on the album, Twilight, with its alerting keyboard line followed by these booming drums that come tumbling down. This song starts off and it doesn't let up. It flies. This is so upbeat and supremely catchy. The verses are great and it leads into a winning chorus. Twilight, I only meant to stay a while. Twilight, I gave you time to steal my mind away from me. The vocal arrangement is fantastic and Jeff Lynne is in fine voice here. I love this track. I think it's a real standout for the album straight away. And that's followed by the slightly silly, glitchy electro pop, complete with computerized voices, Yours Truly, 2095. But I happen to love this song and the lyrics are so funny. In the liner notes of the remastered CD, Jeff Lynne said of this song, "Typical, it's about a bloke who falls in love with a robot. Say no more. I drive the very latest hover car. I don't know where you are, but I miss you so much till then. I met someone who looks a lot like you. She does the things you do, but she is an IBM. She's only programmed to be very nice, but she's as cold as ice whenever I get too near. She tells me that she likes me very much, but when I try to touch, she makes it all too clear." It's a propulsive, high energy track and I love the way that those strings dance around between the verses. And it's one of a kind. You never hear this type of song from ELO ever again. More's the pity. The moody, dramatic piano balladry of Ticket to the Moon is next, another really good song, and again, a big vocal from Jeff Lynne. That's followed by The Way Life's Meant to Be, another loud and likeable pop song with interesting instrumentation. And then we get a really nice change of pace with the spacey, slightly gloomy atmospherics of Another Heart Breaks. This is a brilliant track, a perfect case of less is more. You hear these 2 trickling notes which sounds like a tap dripping acting as percussion throughout the song, and a lovely bed of synthesizers with a keyboard line being played over the top of that, which Jeff Lynne wrote as if to make it sound like a guitar line. And Jeff Lynne repeats in a rather dour vocal, I think 8 times, "Another Heart Breaks." But at this point in the album and the concept, this track perfectly captures the protagonist's isolation and his empty feelings. Side 2 opens with "Rain is Falling," and this is another one of those effortless Jeff Lynne melodies. Beautiful. Love Jeff Lynne's vocal again here. Jeff Lynne doesn't get enough credit as a singer. He's got a great range and a great delivery. And I rather like the playful way the old nursery rhyme is put into the mix towards the end of the song. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. Then we get the wonderful driving synth bass of "From the End of the World." This is another track that I rate highly here. I love those whoa-whoas and yeah-yeahs that answer the line that came before them. It's creative, snappy, catchy, all of the things I like. Then we get "The Lights Go Down." Now, I would probably say that this is my least favourite song on the album. Not that it's a bad song, it's quite nice actually. But my slight problem with this song is it reminds me of the song "The Tide Is High," which was a big hit for Blondie, I think, the year before Time came out. But it's actually an old 60s song from, I think, 1967. I don't remember the name of the band that wrote it, but I think Jeff Lynne probably heard it back then and drew a bit of inspiration from that for this song. Then we get another up-tempo track with the pulsating drive of "Here Is the News." This is a great track with a really cool keyboard riff. Here is the news. The weather's fine, but there may be a meteor shower. Here is the news. All the worst from the World Convention. 21st Century Man is next. Another great track. An absolute beauty with a really sweet vocal from Jeff Lynne. And for me, this has a distinct Lennon-esque feel to it. And considering that this was ELO's first release since the death of John Lennon, I think that Jeff Lynne makes a nod to him here. And the last proper song on the album was the big hit single, "Hold On Tight." Hold on tight to your dream. Yep, it was all a dream, just as the protagonist drifted into the twilight zone and dreamlike state at the start of the album with Twilight, so it finishes with "Hold On Tight to Your Dream." And this is effectively a good old rock and roll romp, with some added French lyrics too. And I really like the bridge section in this song where Jeff sings "When you feel so down and you can't get up." Again, supremely catchy. And the album closes with "Epilogue," which reprises parts of the album and reminds you what it was all about. I love Time. I think it's a great album. The concept's loose, it's easy to follow, it's good fun, but above all, there's 13 tracks here and not a bad one. And to give you 3 favourites from this album, I'm going to go with Twilight, Yours Truly 2095 and Another Heart Breaks. Okay, on to 1983's Secret Messages, an album that was originally conceived as a double album, but Jet's distributor, CBS Records, deemed that this would be too expensive, so it was agreed to cut it down to a single album, but a fine one it is. And Secret Messages, as its title suggests, is littered with hidden messages in the form of backmasking, some obvious, some less so. And this was a bit of a cheeky swipe at these radical Christian groups who had accused rock bands of hiding satanic messages in their songs. The album opens with the brilliant title track, for me, a top 3 ELO song. I love everything about this song, the tempo, the brisk acoustic guitars, the shimmering guitar lines and the thudding added percussion. The way the song glides is so smooth and it moves seamlessly from verse to chorus. I think it's fantastic. A great alternative pop rock song. Loser Gone Wild is next, and this is another fantastic track. I really like the bluesy verses. They then shift into this spiky, mechanical sounding electronica. That transition is so good. And I really like these rather dark lyrics in this song. I don't mind the pain, or the Joker's cold refrain. The days pass by so slowly, I count them all again. Silence of a basement, shades all closed at noon. Lie awake for fear of strangers. I like Bluebird, it's nice enough, but probably my least favourite song on the album. Those deep vocals that go work, work are a little bit jarring at times, but it's still a good song. Take Me On and On is better, a slow, romantic and atmospheric number, really nice. So only 4 songs on side 1, on to side 2, which opens with the excellent 4 Little Diamonds. I love Jeff Lynne's counting here. Okay, after 4. 4. This is a good, old-fashioned rock and roll stomper. Good riff. And I always like those lyrics. I keep on wondering about her, day and night. She probably thinks I was a fool. She's right. On to the next song, Stranger, which has really grown on me through the years. The production here is absolutely beautiful. Again, it has a shimmering quality to it. I'm a big fan of Jeff Lynne's production, especially on songs like this. It sends tingles down my spine. Up next is Danger Ahead, another song that I absolutely love. There's so many catchy little hooks in this song, and it's another really good up-tempo rocker. And this has some interesting sound palette choices with a sped up orchestra, crashing synths, and there's a French horn in there somewhere. And I love that sound, what sounds like a gun. That's really cool. Beware, there's danger ahead. The endless summer is dead. And the harmonies are sublime here. I love those descending guitar lines. Oh, this is perfect. Letter from Spain is next. A gorgeous piece of soundscaping. A bit like Another Heart Breaks from Time. This is a less is more approach, and all the better for it. That repetition of letter that occurs throughout the song is such a good hook. It's so dreamy and soothing and a really lovely piece of music. Train of Gold is next, and this is another great track and another one that's really grown on me through the years. With Secret Messages, my favourite song on the album seems to change almost every time I listen to it. So this one's flavour of the month right now, and I love those vocal gymnastics between Lynne and Graucut with that distinctive cheep, 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 cheep opening. I love the bluesy riff on this song, and again, the harmonies are fantastic. And the album closes with Rock and Roll is King, which, as its title suggests, is a good old rock and roller. I do like that clattering percussion sound that kickstarts the song. She rolled over Beethoven and she gave Tchaikovsky back. Yep, I'm a big fan of Secret Messages. Lots of interesting sounds on this album. Very creative, lots of different styles of songs too. Some fans have expressed their disappointment at this only being a single album, but I think it works really well and is a fine single album. And to give you three favourite songs from this album, I'm going to go with the title track, Danger Ahead, and Letter from Spain. On to 1986's Balance of Power, where the foursome were now reduced to a threesome. Kelly Graucut had left after Secret Messages. His influence had been diminishing for a while, and I think he only appeared on 3 of the tracks on Secret Messages. And this album features a more polished and synthesised sound in comparison to ELO's earlier works and isn't highly regarded at all. But I really like this album, and what we get is a 10-song set, melodically strong, hooky set of pop songs. But it's not overly heavy on the 80s production, and I really like the contrast between the dark, downbeat lyrics and the up-tempo catchiness of the songs. But the band were coming undone here, and maybe that's why it was called Balance of Power. Bev Bevan, being a drummer, naturally wanted to tour, but Jeff Lynne was never a big fan of touring. On the recording of this album, Richard Tandy said that the days were dominated by twiddling the knobs on all of the great toys that we'd got, saving sounds, loading sounds, and sitting down with calculators, working out the milliseconds. The bright, peppy pop of Heaven Only Knows opens the album in typical up-tempo ELO style. Really like the vocals here and the harmony stylings, and I really like that dissonant, loud piano that ends the song. So Serious is next. Love this track. Good tempo, and I really like the uplift into the chorus and that chanting that you hear in the background. And those booming drums that accent the chorus as Jeff Lynne sings, can it really be so serious to be all broken up and delirious? Getting to the Point is next, and this is absolutely sensational. A big, stirring, emotive ballad of the very best kind. And I think the lyrics are fantastic. It's out of control, and there's nothing I can do now. It's out of control, swimming softly through the blue now, and look beyond these walls as the meaning starts to dawn. It's getting to the point. It's got a really big chorus, and I love that saxophone solo that comes in at the end of the song. That's the icing on the cake. It really captures those sad feelings when a breakup happens. And then another up-tempo peppy tune with Secret Lives, which has an interesting Moog type synthesizer running through it. That's really nice. And I really like the tempo shift and the shuffling beat of the drums on the chorus. And Jeff Lynne's vocal is really good again here. It really soars as he sings, and I wonder where she goes to in the night with Secret Lives. Is It Alright is next, and this keeps up the good form. Another song I really like, and this one has a late night feel to it for me, with its descending synth lines and atmospherics, but it also has a very bright and uplifting keyboard line in the chorus. So that's side one, and side two opens with Sorrow About to Fall, which is another truly great ELO song for me. Jeff Lynne always seems to capture the tempo of a song just right for me, and that's evident here. There's silence in the city, there's nobody around, and everyone that we knew moved to higher ground. And the vocal styling as he sings "Move to Higher Ground" is so good. And the chorus is great, the repetition of the line, "There's a sorrow about to fall." It's all the more better for those wonderful saxophone breaks between each line. Love the vocal again here, especially on the outro as Jeff Lynne stretches it out that bit more with those cool guitar lines and more great saxophone playing. I do like a bit of saxophone, and it's tastefully done here. Without Someone is awash with keyboards and synthesizers, and production wise it's most definitely overblown, but having said that, I still like it. Big vocal again from Lynne here. It's good. Calling America is next, and again this has a really good tempo to it and a good chugging rhythm. The drums drive this song nicely, and I really like that stop start shuffle. And again, I'm almost tired of saying it, but I have to say it, good vocal, really nice harmonies. It's upbeat, it's catchy, I like it a lot. Endless Lies is next, and the quietude of the verses is then followed by a really nice pre-chorus part where Jeff Lynne sings, "Stand back, take a look at you, you couldn't care if you wanted to." That's a really good bit, but then it goes into this big, huge, overblown Roy Orbison style vocal. It's a really big vocal. Jeff Lynne's really going for it here, but ultimately, for me, the song is a little bit too big and bombastic and a touch overblown. And the album closes with Send It, which sounds like an update on the old rockabilly style. It has a nice shuffle to it. It's short and sweet, but a tidy little song. I like it. So that was 1986's Balance of Power album. Nobody's favourite ELO album. Well, you never know, it might be somebody's. Let me know down in the comment section below if it's yours. But I really like this album. I think it's a fine collection of catchy pop songs, and to be honest with you, of all of ELO's albums, this is the album I've played the most. And to give you 3 favourite songs from Balance of Power, I'm going to go with Getting to the Point, Secret Lives and Sorrow About to Fall.
There's a silence in the city. There's nobody around.
So there you go. They are ELO's golden years, at least for me anyway. 1981's Time, followed by 1983's Secret Messages, and finally 1986's Balance of Power. ELO were a great band, and credit to all 4 members. They all contribute famously to those albums and more, of course, but special mention for Jeff Lynne. That guy is a genius. He is a master of melody, a multi-instrumentalist, a great arranger of song, and he's a fantastic singer. And I know that it's not to everybody's taste, but I'm a big fan of Jeff Lynne's production. Now, of course, I love all 3 of these albums, but what do you think? Please leave any thoughts and comments down below. And thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you for my next video sometime soon. Until then, bye for now.